Hello, everyone, and welcome to 100 Yards Football Sports Talk Radio. Once again, I'm your host, Logan Landers. Now, today we have a very special episode coming up to you right now. Today, we're going to be talking about the Auburn recruiting class of 2020 and 2021 in the near future. Now, with me today, normally we just talk about any kind of football, but man, we got a very special guest on today. We have Mr. Jake Crain. Jake, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. Appreciate you having me on, Logan.
Hey, no problem, man. Let me tell you a little about Jake. Absolute recruit guru. Every time I see this man posting something on Facebook, on Instagram, anywhere, he is just always talking about recruiting, specifically Auburn. And, man, you got a nose for where these guys are going to head to. Really, really good job, brother.
No, I appreciate it, man. Recruiting's a big part of the show, and we're excited to do it. And coaching for 9 years, I'm lucky enough to know who to talk to and know where to look. So it's we're 39 of 40 right now. Done predictions on everybody from Auburn to Gonzaga in basketball, and it's something where we look forward to keep doing it and ingratiating as many fan bases as we can, and hopefully providing factual and accurate content that they can enjoy for free.
Yeah. Hey man, 39 of 40. That's a pretty good number if I do say so myself.
I appreciate it.
Percentage. Well, without further ado, let's get on into the first recruit here for Auburn. Mm-hmm. We have Mr. Kobe Hudson.
Yeah.
He stands 6'1", 196 pounds out of Troup County High School. He ran a 4.61 40-yard dash. Now, he played quarterback his junior and senior year, but I see a lot of people predicting he's going to go back to his wide receiver roots when he goes to Auburn. He's a recruit, and he's really good at finding the ball. Having played quarterback and also wide receiver, he knows where that ball is going to go. He knows what angle it goes for, all the spirals and whatnot. And man, this guy was impressive. Nearly 2 seasons of 1,000 yards rushing, and he had over 5,000 passing yards in his career with 50 touchdowns. He threw for over 3,000 in one season. And if he gets a little bit of meat on those bones, I know like a lot of these guys coming into college just get a little more bulky, get some weights up. Man, this guy's going to be scary. What you think about him?
Yeah, well, Kobe, I know the coaching staff was really excited when he signed because, number one, you're getting a player from an area that's loaded with talent, and you get a player from an area that you are raised on competition in football, and you are basically judged, on how good of a football player that you are in that area. And Auburn's had a lot of success in Troup County, in Georgia and LaGrange in general. You think about Trey Blackman. I mean, even look at what they're doing on the court in basketball with Bruce Pearl. But the thing about Kobe that I like, and you bring up that he's a quarterback, and so he understands, maybe not where everybody's supposed to be in Gus Malzahn's system, but he understands how to play to open space. He understands what the quarterback is looking at, and being able to be an elite receiver, which he is athletically, and he will gain weight. He reminds me of a little faster and more explosive Ryan Davis with the way that he plays. He's very, very fast and in tiny space. But, the thing that I look at for Kobe is finally being a slot guy for Auburn, that can take the ball and go 70 instead of, getting 15 and getting tripped up or making one cut and getting tackled for a first down. When's the last time that Auburn had a guy that could take a bubble screen, outside of Anthony Schwartz, who there's only like 3 human beings on the planet faster than he is. But, when is Auburn going to have their Waddell? And I think this might be the guy.
Yeah, no doubt. Very impressive, man. I think Kobe Hudson's got a very bright future for him at Auburn, no doubt. Up next, we have Vian Capers, the 6'4", 194-pound wide receiver from Denmark High School. Had a total of 150 receptions with 25 touchdowns, 2,752 yards. Ran a 4.51 40 also. And, man, he just bullied defenders in high school. Just with that good frame, his great hands, and his amazing footwork, and very talented route running. And he's an absolute threat as soon as he walks on campus.
Yeah, he actually reminds me, he's a little bit of a bigger Seth Williams to me with the way that he plays. And I like to use comps so people can kind of understand the type player. But again, they're not the exact same player. Right. The thing that I like about Vian is that, number one, most big guys can do about 3 or 4 things. That's what they're asked to do. We need you to be a guy in the red zone. We need you to be able to block on the outside. We need you to be able to win 50-50 balls, and every now and then be able to break off the post or be able to break off the comeback. What I like about Capers is that he is able to do everything in the toolbox, and he doesn't just consider himself a big body wide receiver. He considers himself a guy that can take the top off if he has to. So, my biggest thing about him, and all through fall camp, they've been raving about him and another guy that we're going to talk about in a second at the receiver position. And I'm telling you right now, I would not be shocked if Capers at the end of the year finishes in the top 5 receivers for Auburn in touchdowns and yards. But I think he's going to be a young guy that they ask to make a lot of big plays in a lot of big situations. And I know he's not afraid. And it's another Georgia kid. And kudos to Gus Malzahn for trying to go get some of the best skill players, in one of the most talent-rich states in the country. So Capers is a guy I think is going to make an introduction to Auburn and SEC fans week 1 against Kentucky at home. I think they're going to bracket Seth. And when they put Zevian in, I think he's going to get some open opportunities, especially if Schwartz hurt some early. So don't be surprised to see Capers catch a touchdown or 2 week 1 versus Kentucky.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely a lot of potential with him. I see a bunch of big yards, and I see a few good seasons out of Capers, no doubt. Yeah. He's got a bright future. Up next, we have Elijah Canion, another 6'4", 213-pound wide receiver from Chaminade Madonna High School. He had a total of 53 receptions, 21.5 yards per catch. Man, he's a big play receiver. We see they were just at average. Man, 11 touchdowns, good vertical with that 6'3" frame, and he's got some long strides too. Man, anytime you see a guy with a 21.5 yards per catch, God, he's averaging 2 first downs each catch, man.
Yeah. It's this is another guy too. Then in fall camp, really, and it's funny because people are like, "Oh, he was a 3-star. I guess he's surprising people." He's not surprising any of the coaches. I mean, I recruited Chaminade Madonna for 4 or 5 years. It's a very, very talent-rich school in a very talent-rich state. But, Auburn signed Elijah Canion, not thinking he's a 3-star or 5-star, thinking he's a guy who can come in and play. And if you look at his body, he's got great wingspan. He's built really well. He's flexible in his hips. He's not a stiff guy. And it's given him a chance along with Capers and Hudson a little bit. I think you may see a little bit of Javarius Johnson too, a kid from 2 classes back at the slot. But I think Elijah Canion's going to be a guy that Auburn took last year that people were excited about. But by the end of this season and next season, people are going to be like, man, we really didn't understand how big of a signing that was. I'll give you a really good comp. Think about a more athletic Darvin Adams.
Yep, that's a good one. Yep, no doubt, man. Yeah, you see there was just that picture, that wingspan you were talking about. He's got some good arms, good reach. Yeah. Absolutely insane. Yeah, a lot of people just didn't, like I said, 3-star recruits, like you don't think too much about them. Nah, he's a special guy, no doubt.
Without a doubt. Yeah, that we have a saying, man, in the coaching world, and that stars are good for astronomers and people playing Mario Kart, man.
No doubt, man. Yeah, Elijah Canion, I see some good things from him, no doubt. Up next, we're getting on to the defensive side of the ball with Jaquin Kool-Aid McKinstry, one of the best nicknames in the recruiting class, no doubt. 6 foot tall, 175 pounds, plays cornerback. He's got some big-time offers, no doubt, from Alabama, Auburn, like we're talking about, and LSU. Absolute freak athlete, man. Yeah. I've film of this guy. He is just absolutely all over the place. Definitely a ball hawk, no doubt, out of Pinson Valley, out of Alabama. And he's close with Bo Nix. So a lot of Auburn fans are really hopefully that they can get Kool-Aid on the team. They won a state championship in high school a few years ago.
Yeah, and moving to this 2021 class, the biggest thing with Kool-Aid is that obviously he did play with Bo Nix and for Bo Nix's dad, Patrick Nix, before he took the job at Central. But the thing about Kool-Aid is, and if you kind of look at the tea leaves, to me, I watch his film, I think he's more of a safety. I think he'll play safety in college. And I watched him play, they played Hewitt the other night, Friday night with Armani Goodwin, another Auburn commit, 4-star running back who had a really good night. And if you watch Kool-Aid, he's uber talented, but I think once he's able to narrow his focus in football and be able to say, okay, I'm not playing offense and defense, I'm playing defense, I'm playing safety, I'm playing corner, whatever it is, I think you're going to see him really blossom because he's unbelievably talented. Right now, we do have a prediction out for Auburn. Basketball is a huge part of this. He's pretty highly ranked as a basketball player, and Bruce Pearl has done a really good job in his recruitment, and I think that's what's going to seal the deal. And, the kid said he wants to actually help build a class. So in order to help build a class, you have to be in a class. So I'm expecting a decision from him sooner than later. Alabama's got commitments from Devontae Smith and Kyrie Jackson, the number 1 JUCO corner in the country. Auburn has Kamal Hayden, a JUCO commitment, and also, that they're really in it for Kamari Lassiter still. They're in it a little bit for Nyland Green. But, I think Kool-Aid's going to go ahead and pull the trigger, and I think he's Auburn bound.
Yeah, I definitely see that, man. He's a stud in basketball also. I saw some more highlights, man. He definitely a two-sport athlete, absolute amazing athleticism. And, yeah, hopefully Kool-Aid will be coming to the Tigers in the very near future. Up next, we have Jeremiah Williams, 6'3", 195 pounds. Scooby, also another amazing Nyland class. He played defensive end and outside linebacker at a Ramsey High School, had 94 tackles, 13 sacks, and absolutely a big hitter with great tackling, really gets the arms around you, drives you to the ground, doesn't go for the big hits where he just rams his shoulder into you and whatnot. He's a good fundamentals, and he's got some great explosiveness, no doubt. Absolute freak off the line.
Yeah, I love Jeremiah because of his versatility. Yep. And, you look at him, you're like, oh, my God, he weighs 195 pounds. Yeah. If you look at him, I think he's about 205, 210, maybe a little heavier than that. He'll play somewhere around 225, 230, maybe 240 in college. But the good thing about Jeremiah is, he's able to stand up. He's able to put his hand in the ground. He's athletic enough laterally to be able to actually play in the box at linebacker and be fine. But what they love him at is that buck position because he's the true definition of a buck. He's a guy that is strong enough to be able to spill the guard on the power and, not get bullied out in the run. But he's also athletic enough to be able to rush the passer. He's athletic enough to be able to drop. He's athletic to be able to stunt and be able to loop or long stick from one sideline of scrimmage to the other. So whenever you have a guy that is and you brought it up, it's a great point, Logan. He's a very refined tackler. When he does a really good job, especially if a big guy's understanding space, understanding when somebody's in his bubble and when he's able to launch. And he never really finds himself off balance. That's what I love watching about Jeremiah. He's very balanced, does a really good job of transferring his weight at the snap of the ball. So his best, I think Jeremiah is going to have an elite college career wherever he goes. We haven't picked Auburn right now. I think Auburn has the mama, and mama makes the decision. So we'll find out sooner than later on Scooby. I think you might see Scooby and Kool-Aid commit pretty close to each other.
That's gonna be a heck of a backfield if they were able to get both of those. Two great players. And like you were saying, man, with that tackling, you see a few college kids coming in there, and they're not the best tacklers in the world. They come out very high ranked in high school, but they just sometimes lack that fundamental. With Jeremiah, he's solid. Every clip I've seen of him, he's always got good fundamentals. Like I said, great balance for a guy his size. Like you say, he's gonna play around the 225 to 240 range in college once he gets a little bit of weight to him. But yeah, I think that Scooby is going to be a great pick for the Auburn Tigers.
No doubt.
Next, we have Smael Mondon, 6'3", 210 pounds, out of Paulding County High School, about 30 minutes away from me. Outside linebacker and running back. He had 45 total tackles, 780 yards on the ground, 13 TDs, and averaged 5.5 per carry. Yeah.
You say you're about 20 miles from him, man. If I was you, I'd look around when I walk out of the house because if this guy hits you, he'll knock you in half. So, the thing about Smael that I like, and, if you watch him, his tape, it's pretty raw, especially if you watch his game tape. It's pretty raw. But, man, does he love violence in a good way. Let me say that, in a good way on the football field. He does have some refinement as a tackler, which he'll get. But you cannot teach how quick he is from A to B. You cannot teach that motor. You cannot teach that instinct. This is a guy that can run out there and play running back, like you said, at a very high level if he wants to, too. But what I'm interested to see is, I watch him, and I don't think he's a true box backer. I don't think he sees it very well in the box. I think he's a guy that, can learn it, obviously. But if you look at his body type, man, if he could figure out how to play nickel or extended will or overhang will, or go to Alabama, and if he can cover well enough, play star, I'm using that as an example, of the kind of position that they would use him for. But I watch him, and there's so many things you can do. I think his best football is way ahead of him. I think his ceiling may be as high as anybody's. He's kind of got that wiry strength, which, he doesn't look like he can bench 400 pounds until he sits down and does it. And it kind of blows your mind. But, it's a kid that's played it very close to the vest. I know Auburn's been in it the whole way. I think it's 50-50 Auburn UGA right now. I know there's some Florida and Tennessee noise. I just think they're late to the party. And I would be very surprised if I saw him go anywhere outside of Auburn and Georgia, but I've seen crazier things happen before.
No doubt. Like you said, with that kind of that sneaky strength that he's got, you look at him in that photo even, and he doesn't look like he's the strongest guy on the field, no doubt. But a lot of these guys now, especially, once you get him on the bench press or doing any kind of weightlifting, it'll surprise you, no doubt. I've been around a few former athletes and all, and man, they're just absolute freaks in the weight room, but you'd never expect it.
Yeah, it's some people are just, we had a guy in high school we used to call X-Men because he looked like he couldn't lift up a paper cup, but he could basically lift the high school up with one arm. So we almost got Dean Cain to come down and talk to him for Ripley's Believe It or Not, but I guess even Dean Cain couldn't believe it.
Yeah. no doubt, man. But yeah, Smael Mondon, hopefully the Tigers be picking him up pretty soon, and definitely got a high ceiling on him. Up next we have Kamari Lassiter, 6 foot tall, 185 pounds, cornerback. Man, he's got some good offers from Bobby Butler's alum in FSU. He also got offers from Alabama, Auburn, as we're talking about, LSU, and UGA, of course. Went to American Christian Academy. Very physical player. He's also played wide receiver before. So like we were talking about earlier, he's got that nose for the ball. He knows where it's going to be going. He knows the angles, the spiral trajectory, all that good stuff. He's got really good hands, and his football IQ is absolutely off the charts. Maybe probably one of the highest in this class.
Yeah. Auburn he was going to commit about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And, there's something weird going on, Logan. I'll explain it in a minute. And I think people will be like, oh, wow, that makes a whole lot of sense on these kids, why a lot of this stuff is happening. But, when I look at Kamari, he's the guy we have a prediction out to Auburn. And, like we said, it almost happened. Georgia and Clemson convinced him to push it back a little bit, and I'll get to that in a second. But I love Kamari's game. I think the more that evaluators and analysts, whatever you want to call them, watch Kamari's game, the more they like it. And it's the same thing that coaches see on film because he's a technician. And what I mean by that is he's not out there just relying on pure athleticism to win plays. And I compare him and Nyland Green in this way is that, I coached DBs for 9 years, man, and I can tell when somebody's attempting to do something, when somebody's out there just playing. I watch Kamari, and he is out there attempting to do everything within the defense. He's athletic enough to do it. I see him talking to his teammates, helping other people get lined up. And as a coach, when you look at those things, there's so many more intangibles than just, oh, man, that was a great tackle. Oh, man, that was a great pick. I love watching the film before the play. I want to see the guy I'm recruiting lining people up. Or I want to see the guy that I'm recruiting right after a play, if somebody missed a tackle, going up and slapping him on the butt, getting on him and saying, let's get the next one. That's what they look at. That's why game tape is so great. And that's what I see from Kamari. That's why Dabo Sweeney loves him. That's why Gus Malzahn loves him. That's why Kirby Smart loves him, because he's coming in there kind of like Tank Bigsby's doing at Auburn right now and saying, listen, I'm not in here trying to sound arrogant. I just want to be a leader. Tell me what I have to do to lead, and I'll do whatever I need to do. And those are the type guys that you win not just SEC championships with, but national championship with. And I hope that people out there understand the type of person that Kamari Lassiter is and why Auburn, even despite of Kool-Aid playing corner and Kamal Hedden playing corner and Tarvarish Dawson playing corner, and Nyland Green, they really want this guy. And there's for way more reasons. You ask any coach at ACA, any coach in their region, he's a kid you got to have on your team, and it's going to be a dogfight till the end. Here's the thing. He hadn't been on a visit to Clemson, Logan. You know what I'm saying? And they're begging him to come to Clemson. Wow. You know what I'm talking? We're not talking about Mary, Sister Margaret of the Poor here. We're talking about Clemson. So, at the end of the day, Kamari's a guy that if Auburn gets him, you'll see a lot of hype and hoopla, and people will be excited, but they won't be nearly as excited as they will be 2 years from now when he's going up against the best receiver that Alabama has and says, I'm going to cover this guy because I'm Kamari Lassiter.
Yeah, no doubt. Definite locker room leader, especially at such a young age too, man. That's always great to see. Guys just this young, just already taking over and already, like you said, just telling people, hey, man, go here. It's all good if you miss this play. Definitely a great, just great intangibles as well, and also just great on the field, great in the locker room, just all around good dude. Yeah, hopefully like I said, Clemson is fighting for him, but hopefully the Tigers can steer him in the right direction.
We'll see, man. If there's only so many spots, and you look at all these DBs, man. Somebody. They used to say you better make a decision or you're going to forget. Well, you better make a decision or there may not be a spot.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, up next, man, we got Nyland Green, 6'3", 180 pounds, another cornerback from Newton High School, one of my old roommates used to go to, man. So I didn't even know going into this. I have pretty close connections to this draft class as well.
Yeah, man, it's pretty nuts, dude. Yeah. I'm waiting to see your picture pop up here and me have to talk about you.
Hey, may in a few years. I still got to get back in the gym.
Yeah. He's got great feet. Does a great job broadcasting.
Oh yeah, but yeah, out of Newton High School, 17 tackles, 4 picks. He's got good awareness, and he's very athletic. Definitely kind of a slept-on pick right now. But I could see Nyland Green getting some really good offers, no doubt. Hopefully the Tigers can scoop him up. Like you said, we've got a very rich wide receiver and defensive, mostly cornerback type recruiting class. And Nyland Green's just another one of those guys that just falls into those absolute amazing athletes that they've been recruiting so far.
Yeah, we had Nyland on the show, on the J-Boy show, and he was great, man. And Auburn, it was really hot for him. He even on the show mentioned Auburn as a team that was standing out, probably one that's standing out the most. And just the way recruiting goes, you have Georgia really make a push. Which, they're the in-state school. I believe they offered first. So, they were the first one to kiss him. So that has some bearing. But, right now we have a prediction for Nyland out to Georgia. I think he ends up at Georgia. I love his tape. I've said for the longest, I think he's one of the most fundamentally sound and most ahead of schedule high school corners out there. Reminds me of Carlton Davis. I think he ends up at Georgia. That's where we have the prediction. I think you're looking right now at Nyland ending up at Georgia, Kamari and Kool-Aid ending up at Auburn. I think that's kind of how the corner dominoes are going to fall.
Yeah, like you're saying, you can't get everyone that you're trying to recruit. That's how it is, man. But if you're able to get those two guys you just mentioned and trade them off for Nyland Green, I would take that any day of the week. No doubt, man. Great player with Green, but yeah. You love to see him at Auburn, no doubt, since we're talking about him. But yeah, definitely the in-state school with Georgia is always going to have that mass appeal because you grow up and they're right up the road. You see going around just going to get some dinner. You see, man, this guy's got a Georgia Bulldog shirt on. It's all around that area, man. Well, awesome, man. I enjoyed talking today about these recruits, Jake. And hey, tell the people at home, tell the 100 Yards Football family where they can find you on social media.
Definitely. I appreciate you, Logan. Y'all do a really good job, Jeremiah, behind in the studio doing his thing. But now y'all can find me on Twitter and Instagram at The J-Boy Show. On YouTube, we have a YouTube page, The J-Boy Show. Please go follow Row One Brand. They're one of our top sponsors on Twitter. They have a bunch of vintage, retro, like old school Auburn stuff, SEC stuff. It's pretty cool. And it's a great deal, man. We got some great guests coming on. Tim Hudson today. We got Auburn D-line coach Rodney Garner. I'm actually breaking some news right here. Nobody knows that. But got Auburn D-line coach Rodney Garner coming on next week. And just some big things happening, man. So we're really excited and appreciate you letting me come on and talk to you, Logan.
No problem. Hey, you heard it here first. 100 Yards Football exclusive for the J-Boy Show. We got a guest on here, man. Hey, awesome, man. Jake, I appreciate you coming on, buddy. Well, for Jake Crain, our great guest, talking about some Auburn recruiting, for behind the scenes with Jeremiah Long, making all this work for us, I'm your host, Logan Landers, and we've been talking about the Auburn recruiting class, guys. I hope you guys have a great